Okay. So if I have to tell you under HR umbrella, we have a various functions, something like finance, operations, or finance. In some companies, it's completely a different umbrella altogether. But wherein some companies, finance still comes into the HR operations because there's a payroll attached to it. But otherwise, on a very high level, I'm going to tell, let's say if there's an organization, in an organization, we need a couple of departments, something like a finance department, sales department, HR department, and then development department. In IT companies, if I have to tell, there's a development department. In manufacturing company, there's a manufacturing department. So to run a whole organization, on top, there is some of the departments sitting, something like HR, something like finance, something like operations, which basically manages the functionality of the whole organization. Now, HR, when I say HR is one of the functionality or HR is one of the umbrella in particular organization under which there are certain set of people. Let's say if I get an opportunity with one particular company, so there's an operations teams which is basically in a back end working on my offer process. Once I get the offer, based on my acceptance or declining, there's again a back end team, again an operations team which is actually cross communicating with IT or cross communicating various departments to get my seat ready, to get my laptop ready, to get my infrastructure ready. So that's basically HR operations. And then once I join the company on a day one, I have something called learnings about the trainings, about the company culture, about my roles and responsibility. So that is basically L&D, learning and development function of a HR. And once I work throughout the week or throughout the month, I'm supposed to get the salary for that particular month. And to get that particular salary for the month, I will be uploading my bank details, as well PAN card details, as well some of the documents in the system. So that's again the operations teams which take care of those functions. So these are all the operations teams. Now comes to during my journey of with that particular company, if I have some of the questions or anything related to my job role, related to the pay cycle, related to anything, then I would definitely reach out to HR business partner to seek some more clarity about some specifications about my job role or about the salary part or whatever. So that's the HRBP function. But wherein the talent acquisition function comes much before all these functions of HR starts playing their core roles. The talent acquisition function is something which basically at the initial stage of identifying an employee. Let's say if I'm working with one of my business, and if that business says, hey, Shiv, you know what? We are growing our team and we are seeking to build this particular product, and we would need an additional team to support us, additional software engineers, additional product manager, additional engineering managers to support us, to join us to build this particular product. And that's where they communicate the first point within the entire HR umbrella. The first point of communication of that particular business happens with the talent acquisition team. And the talent acquisition team tries to understand the requirement in detail. And accordingly, they just get into various job portals or various sourcing techniques, what we're going to cover throughout our sessions. And then that's how they try to identify a potential match and then go with a scheduling purpose. Let's say as a sourcer. So let's say, why do I segregate it? We would have kept all these three things under the talent acquisition itself. Introduction to sourcing, introduction to recruitment, introduction to scheduling. We would have kept all this thing under the talent acquisition itself. All these three things definitely falls under the talent acquisition, but also some companies follows to have a specific teams for the particular things, like for a sourcing, one specific team, for a client leading, or for a client interaction, a particular client recruiter, which is again more into the recruitment. And then once we identify the candidate for the scheduling purpose, we have a scheduling team. Some companies follows that. Basically, big tech companies follows that. And there are some companies who actually follows an end-to-end model where one person who is doing sourcing, stakeholder management, and scheduling. That's basically an end-to-end recruitment. However, depends on the org to org. These three teams can be either separated and given the individual task where the sourcing team can go in depth into the portals, in depth into the passive sourcing. They are more someone who is constantly focusing on candidate engagement, candidate experience, and converting those passive candidates to the active candidates, what basically a sourcing team is doing. Recruitment team or the client recruitment team, I would say they're more focused on basically getting in touch with the business frequently on a weekly basis and trying to understand what's the headcount looking like, what's the upcoming headcount, what's the existing headcount, what's the attrition rate, and to overcome those particular challenges, how do we come across? And then the scheduling team, they are someone who are basically, once the sourcing team identifies the profile, once they raise a request for scheduling, then the scheduling team is someone who is getting in touch with the candidates, who is getting in touch with the interviewers and trying to match up the most possible time and try to schedule the interviews. So basically, all the three teams have their own unique values, have their own unique challenges, have their own unique opportunities. And it depends on actually every individual what they're really excited about. I've seen a number of individuals or a couple of individuals who are really excited about doing complete end-to-end. I've seen a number of individuals who are really excited about only getting into sourcing. I see a couple of people who are really excited about doing a client stakeholder management. I see a couple of people who are really excited about simplifying the scheduling, because scheduling on the outer look, it might look like only a scheduling, but trust me, once you get into a real job of scheduling, take the interviewer slot, get the candidate slot, and match both the slots and get the interview done. Without a candidate, it's not joining in the last moment, or making sure that interviewer is not joining in the last moment. So that's again a difficult task. So there are some specialized schedulers who really love doing that particular job. So every three teams has their own unique values as well, unique growths. So I'll just take a pause here, just try to understand if you would have understand why talent acquisition is not completely a part of HR, but can be a separate function itself. Because as I mentioned, HR is something which starts from the day after the candidate joins or after the candidate's offer is rolled out. But wherein much before that, from the day of discussion with the clients for their business requirement till the candidate is identified, till the candidate is being offered, is where the talent acquisition, the whole talent acquisition team, in which sourcing, client recruiters, and scheduling teams are playing their own key roles. As well, there are some companies where we have end-to-end recruiters who does all these three things, sourcing and client stakeholder management and the scheduling part. So yeah, I'll just take a pause over here. Any confusions? On a very high level, I just covered about the talent acquisition part under the HR umbrella, but I'll just take a pause just to understand if you have further more questions on this. Most of us are basically into the recruitment. This is specifically for people who join for the first time and who doesn't know anything about the recruitment. But yeah, especially for them who doesn't know anything about the recruitment and wanted to start from zero and joining this session for the first time. So just wanted to understand if you would have understood a talent acquisition part under the HR umbrella. Not every recruiter is an HR, or not every scheduler is an HR. Recruiter is a recruiter, sourcer is a sourcer, and scheduler is a scheduler. Their own unique challenges and opportunities to grow in their own field. Anyone who has a question or has to agree or has to disagree or got some suggestions? We have a couple of experience, we have a couple of tenured folks over here. If you can just unmute yourself and give some lights. Maybe Srini or Priyanshu or AK, Priyanka, anyone?
Yes. Hi, Shiv.
Yeah, Srini.
Yes. So I'm just having my dinner, so that's the reason why you might hear some noise. So, but yeah, talent acquisition. is more strategic in nature, because we're trying to build the roadmap of the organization and their hiring plans in terms of the kind of talent they want to get within the organization, which aligns to their strategy, their growth path, and the domains. Like there are some organizations who are into automation, there are some into digital transformation, there are some organizations into their own product development, and probably competitors, like how Google has done, right? Like they hire people from AWS, Azure, and build their competency. So whatever is the strategy of the organization to comply to that and get the type of people which benefits the organization to build its roadmap is what a talent acquisition person or team should do ideally, which is totally different from what agency recruiters do, wherein they have to raise an invoice, and for that they have to close the open positions. And when it comes to sourcers, normally people, these are in different organizations, sourcing come recruiting, there's people would do both, and in certain other organizations, sourcing is a separate function wherein we identify the talent not from the normal pools but from other pools, apart from the paid ones. And then yeah, it could be like we could use certain tools like aggregators like Seekout, Entelo, or Hire Easy. That could be something which people use, and contact finding tools. But by using these things, finding additional talent, and then connecting with them, talking to them, and once they get interested, then pass it on to the recruiters. So these are some things which organizations do to ensure that they identify and hire talent when they need to.
So it's more like specializing each department. Yeah, we have someone here.
Yeah.
Actually, Satish here, in connection to your answer, I have a question. Like, what is the actual difference between recruiting and talent acquisition? I'm sure they're not one and the same, right?
No, see, when it comes to an organization, IT organizations or corporate organizations tend to use the word talent acquisition, which is more strategic in nature. Whereas recruiting is, it is a common term which is used wherein we fill the open positions, right? Like recruiters are there in talent acquisition. People are also recruiters, but they're much more than recruiters because they're part of the strategic hiring team within the organization. So recruiting plus strategic hiring becomes talent acquisition, whereas recruiting is filling the open positions. So you would find that in agencies, or when we do it with like contract hiring, right? Like as
we can also
when
say
we're supporting,
even recruiters does the same job. Even talent acquisitions also does the same job. There's a thin line drawn between these two different titles. However, if you have to ask me, a recruiter or recruitment is something old jargon, and wherein the talent acquisition is something a modern jargon. But otherwise, the functions, the kind of the rules and responsibilities. When I say, as Srini mentioned, the talent acquisition is more strategic, that is basically a recruitment has evolved and got more strategic. And that's where even the title got evolved from recruiter to talent acquisition. What do you suggest, Srini? What do you say, Srini?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, if we see organizations do a lot of market mapping, and where have previous employees of our organization have joined. So so they want to get these employees back into the organization. And what are the similar kind of organizations?
So we
So
see a
market
decade ago.
mapping. market intelligence, so all these things. So that is how recruiting within a talent acquisition function or within a corporate function is different to other functions, and that's the reason why there is a different name that has been given. And because all these, everybody are recruiters or sourcers, but because of the nature of the slightly different dynamics in a corporate organization, and for which there is a different terminology which has been coined, which is talent acquisition.
Just more evolved name of recruitment. If you see decade ago, recruitment was completely different. If you see decade and half ago, before 2004, before 2005, recruitment was completely different. Naukri came into the picture somewhere between 2006 or 2004. But before that, if you see, recruitment used to happen only through the job ads, only through the paper ads. But wherein after Naukri slowly, how Naukri started. They started collecting these job ads from the various newspapers and started coming up with a booklet. I forgot that particular name, but it used to circulate only that a job booklet, a kind of a mini manual every weekly. And that's how the
employment newspaper.
Huh?
Employment newspaper.
Employment newspaper or something. In Hindi also it used to be called something. I just forgot that particular name. Every weekly used to come. What the owner of this company used to do is like they used to pick up all the job ads from all the various newspaper and get compiled in one particular employment newspaper and sell it on a weekly basis. The whole week they were collecting the job ads from the various newspaper, compiled in one employment newspaper, and every weekly they used to sell it. So that's how the recruitment looked, or recruitment ads looked earlier. And that's where people used to see those particular job ads and then call those particular number or just go for a walk-in. That's how the recruitment was when we see 15 years back. Then as the internet started trending, internet got into the industry, that's where Naukri got on a web and started posting these jobs directly on a web. That's where it became Naukri.com. And variously, that's how things has been evolved over a period of time in last 15 years. Then came LinkedIn. Then they started with something called social networking. So there's a lot of evolution has happened. So why do industry would stick to the same old name of recruitment or HR? So that also has to be evolved. And that's where the more strategic name called talent acquisition came in place. Under talent acquisition, sourcing, client recruiting, still it's evolving. Everyone is trying to take their own specialized area and trying to go to the next levels. Earlier, before 5 years or before 10 years, we have never seen these three functions different. All these three functions were a part of a recruitment. Everyone was doing the end-to-end. But later on, industry or later on companies started realizing it would be great if you can have a specific sourcing team which can constantly focus on candidate experience, which can constantly focus on candidate engagement, which can constantly focus on turning passive candidates to active candidates. That's where the sourcing department got involved and formed. Then there was a talent client recruiting team. Industries realized that it will be way too much for a person to have a constant focus on candidate experience, to have a constant focus on candidate engagement, to have a constant focus on converting passive candidates to active, and at the same time, leading the entire business, leading the entire entire business unit, taking a look at what are the active requirements, what's the attrition rate, what's the upcoming roles, how to be strategized to fill in the upcoming roles. So that's where the new department came called client recruiter or the talent business leads or something like that. And then the scheduling. Again, some companies realize that it would become way too much if we have given everything to one person. Rather, we'll have particular scheduling department and give them a constant training and let them also constantly overcome those particular challenges about tracking multiple calendars and getting things done. So that's how various three teams or three names formed: a sourcing team, or client recruitment team, or a scheduling team, which are again a part of a talent acquisition, basically.
Yeah, and just one more thing to add, like see, in talent acquisition, things don't normally start. Yeah, it doesn't normally start after we have got the open positions. So we normally start looking for those people, or especially in leadership hiring, right? Like we will have to keep them warm and keep the pipeline ready. And when we get any open requirements, which we know that are going to come anytime, we have people ready with us. So
Yeah.
that is something which is very different when it comes to TA.
Yeah. All right. Let's move to the next thing. So we have last 7 to 8 minutes left. So we might get disconnected. As I mentioned that we are working on a free version of Zoom and it's get disconnected every 40 minutes. So we'll have to re-log in using the same login details. But anyways, let's continue for the next 7 minutes. So yeah, now coming here, what is search? Kind of keyword search on a web. Anyone here? What is search?
It is a mix and match of keywords, what you're looking for, which, I mean, you put it on a search engine uh, and look for, might be, it is a combination of the logical ands and ors.
Sorry, can you please repeat? I was not there. I missed.
Yeah, Shiv, I mean to say it's a mix and match of the keywords that you are in particular looking for, uh, which you put it in a search engine search tab and look on the web, and the search engine does its logical and ors and gives out the results based on the keywords that you have punched in on the search tab.
Got it. Yeah, you're correct. Actually, we started. Just a second. Someone says that we did not start the session yet. So basically, you're saying it's a mix and match of a keywords and all, right?
Right. So you say I'm looking for certain. I mean, usually every day everybody does it. Like a best restaurant near me. So this is just a phrase for us, but when you put it on the Google search, it picks up the keywords of restaurant, best, near me, and all these things, and does that logical part of and ors and the results for you.
Absolutely. So search is nothing but search. What is search? What do I say? It's a search. If I'm trying to search something, I'm searching. It could be online, it could be offline, anything. But when we say keyword search on a particular web, let's say if you're trying to search something, like something like sourcing. If you're trying to search for sourcing, then Google is showing us a list of results. What is sourcing? Sourcing is the process of vetting, selecting, managing suppliers who can provide the inputs and organization needs for day-to-day running. Or what is strategic sourcing? So search is basically, it could be online or offline, but when we are searching for a specific keyword on a web, that becomes a keyword search on a web. It could be one keyword, it could be two keywords, or it could be a combination of multiple keywords. We'll go over there when we form a multiple keyword formation, what it's called. We'll go over there in our next session. But otherwise, to keep it simple, when we say what is search, search is something which could be online or offline when we're trying to search something. Wherein keyword search on a web, where we are specifically targeting one particular keyword, something like restaurant near me or anything. One particular keyword or a multiple keyword, like we did search just for a sourcing, one particular keyword, where we have just searched for a sourcing on a web and Google started showing us a result. Or it could be a multiple keywords, or it could be a question to a Google. Like one of our community member has mentioned, like restaurants near me, or educational institutes near me, or bus stand near me, or anything it could be. Now, when we do those particular keyword search, that's where I just thought of, covering on what is called Google suggestions or say Google direct answers. Let's say now we have searched for sourcing, or let's say sourcing and recruitment. What it's trying to do is like it's trying to search this particular keyword of sourcing and recruitment from the various number of lakhs of websites, and it's trying to show us the list of results which are matching to the sourcing and the recruitment. Like if you see, once we start searching for sourcing and recruitment, we have got number of results. Also at the same time, we also have something called people also asked. So Google captures that particular data in the backend. If someone is trying to search for sourcing and recruitment in a massive millions of data, massive numbers of searches, what this person is also trying to check. Let's say if I try to search for sourcing and recruitment, did I also try to search for what is the difference between sourcing and recruitment? Something like one of a community member asked the question in our today's session. What is the difference between recruitment and talent acquisition? Similarly, when someone is trying to search for recruitment and talent acquisition, there might be a people who would have gone to a Google and tried searching for what's the difference between recruitment and talent acquisition. Let's say we just search for recruitment and talent acquisition. As we assume correctly, there might be a people who would have searched for a difference between talent acquisition and the recruitment. So Google is trying to search all those millions and lakhs of web pages and trying to see where this kind of a results or where this kind of questions has been answered on a particular web page. And that's where when we see a recruitment and a talent acquisition, not just the recruitment and talent acquisition related results we're getting, we're also getting a kind of a questions where people also ask for what is the difference between talent acquisition and recruitment? What is a talent acquisition recruiter? Does recruitment come under talent acquisition? Are talent acquisition and HR are same? So there are various list of questions. So Google is capturing a massive data of this searches from the human being when they're running these particular searches. As a human being, let's say if I search now for the recruitment and talent acquisition, my curiosity might increase and I might try seeking an answer. What is the difference between recruitment and talent acquisition? Again, my curiosity might increase and we might try to again check, does recruitment comes under the talent acquisition, or are talent acquisition and HR are same? So there might be a massive